Hey, and welcome to VFX Tutors. I'm Josh, and in this tutorial slash sort of walkthrough, we're going to be continuing with our flamethrower asset. So if you've just stumbled across this video now, the complete process is on my channel. I think we're on like part 10 now, so go through the entire process, all the mistakes and all that sort of stuff as well. Not sped up, so some of them are quite long. So yeah. We're just going to be carrying on modeling our asset basically, so don't forget that like and subscribe, it really does help, and it makes me happy, so let's get going. So in all the previous tutorials we've just gone through and we've basically modeled this entire trigger housing. We have gone through and done quite a lot of the detailing on it already. I know you kind of leave that till last, but it was kind of a nice break from doing just big lengthy chunks. Sometimes it's just nice to do some quick small models and duplicate it. So hopefully you've got to this point. If not, yeah, I guess you'll get here at some point, I guess. We're just going to start doing this bit. So we're actually starting our first main chunk of the actual rifle now. So this might actually end up being quite a long tutorial. Like I say, tutorial walkthrough. See it as you will. You're basically just seeing my entire process, really, and you don't have to watch the entire thing. So, because we're going to be doing this bit, I'm actually going to start out with some temporary blocking, just so I can get a good idea of what I kind of really need. I can go ahead and just start modeling this, but sometimes it's just I still prefer to make sure I block it out with some sort of geometry that has a sensible amount of edges and edge flows, because there is no way in this world that this thing is symmetrical. So we try and do as much as we can to help ourselves. And then this bit in the actual, this bit is actually, I think, pretty sure it's like spot welded over. So in reality, it's I think it started off as multiple. You can see here it started off as multiple pieces, but then it's been like welded together. So it's going to be another sort of technical challenge that we're going to have to overcome at some point. But let's not worry too much about it now. Ever so slightly off on our rotation of our scan. Or it kind of looks like it. So we'll just go with something like that for now. And it just gives us a rough idea of where we want to go. So I'm actually going to start here, as I do as usual, and I'm just going to probably start as a cylinder. Definitely do not need that many edges. So you may have noticed I kind of like to use cylinders a lot, especially when we're dealing with like round edge stuff, just because it's really easy to make round edge stuff look so wrong when you're like doing it by eye. I just prefer to let Maya do the hard work on that. So I could only really assume that this is the same sort of curvature in here. So I could, I'll just duplicate that and I'll bring that over to here. duplicate that again. And entirely up to you how you want to do this. You can continue using. Let's go into orthographic actually. We can continue just using our cylinders and then just delete them out. Or we can use, in previous times I've just used like the bevel edge, which is just as fine. And the annoying thing that this is not, I probably should rotate the model slightly, but we've already gone so far. Cool. So I'm just gonna select all my cylinders, just isolate them, and I can just merge, combine. Like I said, there's like a million ways to do these sort of things. But there's no sure 100% way, but this is just how I'm doing it. So I'm just going to delete those. So now I've got those edges. Probably safe to say goodbye to that. Cool. Obviously it looks a bit wacky at the moment, but we'll adjust that. So I will just isolate that. We seem to have accidentally removed an edge. So what we also need to do is make sure that these are all facing the right way. So let's also go mesh display reverse. And the same on that. Let's press G. I'm just going to select all these and just make them all the same height. Oh, now we've got this sort of shape that we're looking for. So I imagine probably I'll do this a very similar way to what I did last time, maybe. I'm just trying different methods. If that needs to go out. Maybe delete a little bit too much off that. So we're coming to a point where let's just get all our... It starts to get a little bit tricky sometimes. Ooh, let's bridge that. Just double check that we are look a bit wonky here. So I will just for now, I am actually just going to close this. Cool, so we've kind of got our shape. Okay, we'll take a few wobbly bits. But we also kind of need to figure out how we're going to get this curve in here, and got another sharp edge. So I very much imagine that's not a sensible sort of shape, so I'm just going to block it out with some extrusions. Just doing very broad strokes at the moment, so don't worry about the detail as of yet. Just trying to figure out what we need to do, really. So it's honestly hard to tell what's really going on behind there. Excuse me, my throat is still pretty horrible. Let's unselect that last one. Just because it's easier to snap to now. So I'm just going to hold V and snap to that point. Then at this point, we are joining to our actual gun. So I'm actually going to make another cylinder because I've already sacrificed those ones. And I want to make sure they're the same subdivision so they can match up nice and easily. hard to tell where that is, but we can sort of guesstimate. So I'm just going to straight up merge those together. Delete that. Oh. Make sure that our edges are at the same height. Not bothered about that. I'm just using this so I can use this as a join anyway. So just so I can build this much nicer. Oh, we must have got something mixed up there. We need to slip over our normals. Because don't forget we're using the inside of it now. Let's add one more there. Cool, so don't forget, like, whatever we do, we still need to add. Still keep homes for these sort of guys. So, because we're like sort of now going into territory where we can't, in flat edges, we can hide a lot of some of our not so fanciful topology, like nodes and poles, because they sit fine on super flat areas. Not necessarily on curved. You really want to avoid all that sort of stuff on curved. But we'll just go for it piece by piece for now. And sort of tackle the problems as we come along. I think that'll be right, actually. Just a lot of the time end up just like kind of thinking out loud. So I only pulled that away just because sometimes the target word's just rubbish and doesn't go to particularly where I want it. So I'm just thinking maybe actually for the sake of that edge, and I'm probably going round and round, but we probably could hide some of this stuff. Sorry about that. So now we keep that edge loop. I want to make sure I keep this edge loop as well. Let's just delete that. Made a mess. Cool, so now I've just got something a little bit tidier. We probably can remove some of these edges when we get to a nice flat point. Not overly worried about it right now though. So I'm just going to isolate that so... Oh, I need to stop clearing my throat, sorry about that. I'm just going to add the edges in as I go along. So some coffee. It was very cold. Still does the job though. Okay, it's probably safe to say we can delete those. Definitely edge here. don't want to do that. I almost want to make sure I target well to my straight edge, so I don't add problems. Cool, so we probably could, before, I think sometimes I've gone a bit far ahead and tried to reduce as many polys as I can as I'm going along. Sometimes then you get to it and you actually might need them back. So I'm just double checking if there's anything. There's obviously this bit here which maybe we need to have a look at. It's a bit of an odd area, but maybe it's fine. I think this edge we can get rid of and just lose it in a loop. So now we're dealing with much less, far less polygons. Also, I just need to check that we need to make an edge loop on that as well, because we've broken the edge loop, but let's not worry too much. So I'm just going to match the. So now we've only got 4 edges we have to add on. No, what does it matter? So just making sure I snap these, snapping them aligned. Cool, we can just kind of see if we can just select them all and just bridge it. So now got a pretty interesting shape. Now we just need to make our barrel for it, I guess. So this is kind of we've got a bit that comes out. You can just about see it here. Possibly, maybe just a bit too much of a tiny detail we don't need to worry about, and probably would look like a mistake if we do add it. So I'll probably still mirror it across, but I'm still gonna make it work with what we got at the moment. We're kind of annoyingly everything's kind of off rotation, so I'll probably regret this, but we will just pull it. And obviously when you do this, it kind of makes its object transform not really true anymore, but let's worry about that another time if we have to worry about it. So there's no doubt you probably could have made this a separate model, but for the interest of just doing it, we're still going to do it. Let's actually snap that up. I'll say we'll probably mirror this anyway, or at least yeah, no, we will mirror it, basically. So we're going to come to the point where we need to sort of make this work. And this is obviously where a hard surface modeling can become very complex. Saying that, I think most of the stuff that we've actually done has been pretty complex already, so let's just want to delete this. So now I can select that edge loop. Obviously that's only that high. I don't actually know what's actually going on behind there. I'll take some guesstimations, I guess. Well, I suppose I could actually take it apart, but there's only so much you can really do before you really, it's like, we could do that. But what we'll do instead is bring that back up, so when I do, so I'll have to add another edge loop in there. I don't want to have to add it getting in the way of this edge loop, because it's going to go in here. So we just got to figure out how we want to join these, because obviously this will create problems for sure. I think the first step we want to do is actually just go ahead and no, I don't really want to delete it because I want to probably add a let's add an edge loop here because we'll definitely need that. Not sure what for yet, but just got one of those feelings, you know. Let's delete these. So we're on 28 minutes. I do try to keep time just in case I'm not, I don't know, lollygagging. Because I sure do probably talk a bit too much instead of getting stuff done. So this is going to be the big mystery on how I want to join this, because it's going to cause problems for sure. So, that being said, it's just sometimes the best thing to do is just go for it. Don't know where it's going to end, but I'm sure something will happen. So this will be the problem that we will face, is that we do not have could have sworn there was one there. Anyway, let's just go ahead and just merge this, just so it's easier to see once now we're working with it. So we know straight away that we need to add these in. Just going to throw them in. And I'm just snapping them, so they're definitely aligned correctly. Also, we've got this relatively horrible piece here, which is probably going to cause us problems. I'm not going to lie. But because we probably want to add edge loop now. Let's just go for it, I think. Do I want to keep this as a separate edge loop? Probably I do. Pretty bit overexcited there. I've obviously got this here. Not super happy about that placement of the node. In danger of me repeating myself and saying we're not going to see it, but we probably should take another look at it. So I do need to add a proper edge loop in here. For the curve. Ooh, not that way. So I actually need to bridge that. And this is now causes problems because I have not. That's what happens when you break the object transforms. It's an easy fix, but we now just got to figure out this. Let's give this a tiny bit of a tidy up. Oh yes, the other side. Cool, so we're getting pretty close to this sort of shape now. Let's sort these out. Not really going to see them, so but it just means that we can use them to close off these edges up here. Probably could have just copied it from the other side, but oh well. Okay, so what we do not have is we have a corresponding edge here which we can use, but we do not have one on here. So let's see where this takes us. Maybe not actually. I think I might be overthinking that. Let's do one more. Okay. Probably should have done this at the same time, but we didn't. So now we're probably left with this is going to be our corner we pivot on. Because I don't think you want to keep this sort of edge straight. And let's just do the same for here. So probably could have probably could have just copied and duplicated it, but we didn't, so there's that. So probably could have rotated that, made it a little less janky, but it doesn't really matter, to be honest. Because we can just fix it. And it's not like detrimental to the curve. I suppose that this end is actually in here. I feel we could probably just clean it up to that point. We don't see it, but let's try and make it a bit correct, if you know what I mean. And we can use that as a nice little curvature in there. Do still want to keep this edge cut. I do want to still keep this sort of edge loop, so I don't really want to destroy it. So I'm going to not that we'll probably see it, but there's a bit of a stretch there, isn't it? Probably doesn't matter so much. And as we don't really see it, I'm just going to go with something like that. If I can. Yeah, I didn't think that would work. I don't know why I did. Because I've done it the wrong bit. That's why. Let me start building sketchy edges. Oop, not that. Is it joined? Yes. Okay, so just going to straighten this out. Unsure of the complications of that as of yet, but I'm hoping it should all be okay. There we are. So we definitely need to make sure we have enough edges for these. Looks like we do, and I haven't preemptively got rid of some. So I'm just going to quickly control it. Oh, I've not selected that top bit. Control E, W. Just going to this one. Probably could just select them both and merge them, but not overly bothered. You can do it either way you would like to do it. And pretty sure this is leading us to something absolutely fine. No, nothing, not fine at all. It's getting a little bit dirty in that corner, but should be alright. Seems like we may have deleted some bits. And now let's just delete those. Cool. And we've annoyingly it doesn't matter. Well, you should always check your edges, but it doesn't matter for now. And bridge. Cool, so we've now built this bit. What have we got? So that's pretty nasty that we need to still figure out. This might actually be quite a long tutorial because quite a few multiple pieces. Or we'll run a Let's just keep it at an hour, I guess. So we've done this bit, which we'll flip over in the next one, just to keep it so we're not doing huge, long, lengthy ones. So I know not quite finished. We still got to do a lot more to it, but we'll pick it up in the next bit. But hopefully, if you just smooth it now, you should see. What we can do, just do one little test here. We won't do that, but let's just see how it looks. Cool. That all seems to work all right. Cool. So we'll carry that on in the next bit. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. I know it's been quite long just doing this one little bit, but we've made it very accurate and very clean, and we'll flip it over to the other side in the next one once we've done the tip. So don't forget to like and subscribe, it really does help, makes me happy. Yeah, and don't forget to share the channel and stuff like that, and thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.